Top 10 most annoying King Charles moments that made him unlikable. Number 10, Unloyalty. The revelations of infidelity in his marriage to Princess Diana left him and now Queen deeply unpopular. While he has managed to regain some positive sentiment in the British public, he remains less esteemed than many other members of the royal family. A poll showed in April 2022 that nearly half of Britons think Charles should let his son Prince William be the next king. And YouGov polling ranks him as the 7th most popular royal behind his late mother, daughter-in-law Kate, son William, late father Prince Philip, sister Princess Anne, and niece Zara Tindall. Among millennial-age Britons, he ranks 12th. Number 9, donation scandal. Most recently, he has been embroiled in controversy over donations to his charities. The Sunday Times of London reported that the half-brothers of a controversial figure made a $1.2 million donation to the Prince of Wales Charitable Fund back in 2013. Charles's official office, Clarence House, said the royal did not personally solicit the donation. On to number 8, jealousy. The first major brush with disapproving public opinion came amid his marriage to Princess Diana, the 25th anniversary of whose passing the world recently marked. The HBO documentary The Princess shows archival footage of the duo touring Australia that suggests he was jealous at how much more popular she was. Diana confirmed that Charles envied the public's devotion to his wife in her explosive '95 interview with Martin Bashir. The pressure on us both as a couple with the media was phenomenal and misunderstood by a great many people. She said, "We'd be going around Australia, for instance, and all you could hear was, 'Oh, she's on the other side.'" Diana subsequently clarified that the waiting crowds were expressing their disappointment that Charles was closer to them rather than Diana. Someone close to you acting out of jealousy towards you is never fun, and considering he was a future king at the time, I'm sure this hurt his ego, even though it shouldn't have. He should have been proud of how publicly accepted his future queen was, but I guess not everyone, even a king, likes to see people winning, right? On to number 7, suspicions. On July 29, 1981, 750 million people in more than 70 countries watched then Prince Charles marry Lady Diana Spencer at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Although the marriage ended in divorce in '96 and Diana tragically lost her life in a car accident a year later, their wedding remains one of the most iconic moments in royal history. The celebration set the scene for future royal weddings, including those of William and Catherine Middleton in 2011 and Harry and Meghan in 2018, but let's not skim over the fact that just because they had a dreamy wedding, their relationship was the same way. As we all know, it was revealed soon enough that they were having troubles in their marriage. One of the many troubles being to stay faithful to each other. The extramarital affairs were the biggest giveaway that this marriage was not a happy one for either Charles or Diana. According to Diana, Her True Story by Andrew Morton, the young princess had strong suspicions of her husband's relationship with Camilla from the time they were engaged, and she bought her former lover a piece of jewelry customized with an inside joke. Red flag. However, those close to the princess denied the affair, causing her to question her own sanity. The Queen Mother even told her friends Diana was a silly girl for imagining such things. Despite this, Diana pressed on with her belief and even confronted Camilla about the affair. Number 6, uncertainties. They'd seen each other just 13 times before the proposal. Diana later told her biographer Andrew Morton that she responded with giggles as she thought he was joking, but the prince was deadly serious, emphasizing the earnestness of his proposal by reminding her that one day she would be queen. But this very sudden engagement may have been a mistake. Both Charles and Diana had second thoughts about their engagement, and Charles was concerned about Diana's mood swings. According to journalist Tina Brown, he was desperately worried about how thin she was getting. Charles's biographer Sally notes he ultimately put it down to pre-wedding jitters. Diana, on the other hand, was troubled by Charles's enduring friendship with former girl Camilla. And on top of that, Diana was suffering with major depression and eating disorders due to Charles pointing out that her wrists looked chubby. Pro tip, don't ever comment on someone's body. On to number 5, problematic wedding guests. 3,500 people were on the guest list, including political figures from around the world. Charles was Queen Elizabeth's eldest son and the heir to the throne, therefore the guest list included obligatory world leaders as well as friends and family. And as savage as it may be for Charles to do this, his former girlfriend Camilla was also one of the guests. Camilla wore a gray suit and matching pillbox hat with a veil and was seated next to her sister. Her first husband, Andrew, was also part of the festivities, commanding the household cavalry escort for the newlywed Charles and Diana. The audacity to show up to the wedding as the groom's mistress? The story just writes itself. And to add to the fire, Charles even wore cufflinks to his wedding, which were gifted to him from Camilla. And just in case you were wondering why Charles never married Camilla in the first place, the royals did not approve of her since she had previously been married, which was frowned upon, especially for the future king of the country. But fast forward to 2005, Charles finally got his way and married Camilla, who is now queen. I guess this couple was meant to be. On to number 4, anger issues. The seemingly storybook romance turned out to be a nightmare, but one author claims things were much darker behind closed doors. Christopher Anderson has written a book about Queen Elizabeth's eldest son titled The King, The Life of Charles. He spoke to numerous palace insiders as well as those who've known the former Prince of Wales or worked with him closely over the years. His goal was to further investigate Charles's lonely childhood and military training, as well as several scandals surrounding his relationships that rocked the House of Windsor. The marriage between Charles and Diana became so volatile that royal protection officers were wary of all the weapons scattered around the palace. He has a huge temper, Anderson claimed about the king. I mean, it's an incredible temper. The tantrums constantly and throwing a boat jack at her. It's a heavy wooden device for putting on hunting boots, and it's made of iron and wood. He threw it at Diana's head and just missed her. It was Charles's former valet Kevin Stronach who alleged to Anderson that he was in the room when Charles, in the middle of an argument with Diana, grabbed a heavy wooden boot jack and threw it at her, missing the princess's head by inches, as quoted in the book. This relationship was so toxic from the beginning. The fact that it lasted 15 years is pretty sad to know. They both deserved better than that. Anderson wrote that during the marriage, Charles had sunk into a deep depression and thought he was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. He turned to one of his confidants, Arnold Goodman, and allegedly said, "I have nothing to live for." Goodman allegedly felt that Charles was showing the classic signs of depression. Charles not only believed he was trapped in a loveless marriage, but he feared that a divorce, if it could even be granted by the Queen, would have grave repercussions for his children, the royal family, and the monarchy itself. Number 3, royal wealth. Now that King Charles is living a king-size life, how can we pretend there aren't any regal secrets he's keeping from us? After inheriting the properties from his mother, Queen Elizabeth, Charles has been getting a lot more attention, and obviously we're gonna dig into that English wealth and their secrets. For a regular British citizen, any inheritance over $380,000 is taxed 40%. But King Charles doesn't have to pay anything on properties, jewels, and investments that are probably worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Whatever happened to eating the rich? The royal treatment is getting out of hand. Having all this money and privilege on top of not having to pay taxes? Crazy. The same document explains that the British Crown is also not legally liable for income tax or capital gains tax. Personally, I think the British people should overthrow the throne at this point because taxes should not be reserved for regular citizens. Or what if they flipped and only taxed the extremely rich? That's a society we should all be wanting to live in. Number 2, hiding details about their wealth. The royal family is under few requirements to disclose details of its wealth, but all I'm gonna say is if you want to find out, it's not too difficult to go all Sherlock Holmes on the family. The family's communications with the government are exempt from freedom of information requests. Their official papers are kept secret by Britain's National Archives for at least 50 years. But the lack of transparency has led anti-monarchy groups, including the Republic, to call the monarchy an unaccountable public institution that has the power, secrecy, and influence to willfully abuse its position. Without a change, many details of the royal family's private wealth may never be known. Facts about the Duchy of Lancaster's offshore investments were leaked back in 2017, and those detailed roughly $13 million in offshore accounts. I wonder what else can be revealed if more documents were suddenly leaked. We should get some more investigative work done on this family though. Other reports have suggested questionable foreign dealings or arrangements. King Charles was once accused of offering to help secure a knighthood for a Saudi national in response to a donation to his charitable foundation. Representatives of Charles denied an impropriety, but it still sounds a little suspicious and sketchy to me though. And finally, number 1, Princess Diana's letter. Paul, one of Diana's former butlers, said that the princess predicted her own passing in a car crash. That's spooky. Apparently she was so scared 10 months before she passed that she wrote to Paul saying that there was a plot made by a member of the royal family and that her car brakes would be tampered with and she would suffer serious head injuries. And all of this would be so that the Prince of Wales could get married again. The letter she wrote read, "I am sitting here at my desk today in October longing for someone to hug me and encourage me to keep strong and hold my head high. This particular phase in my life is the most dangerous. My husband is planning an accident in my car, brake failure and serious head injury in order to make the path clear for him to marry Tiggy. Camilla is nothing but a decoy." So what did they do with this letter, you ask? Well, they keep it in a very safe place. Will Charles ever elaborate on this super suspicious letter? Most likely not. But we do need the answers. That is all for today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more juicy royal updates, and I'll catch you next time on The Rich Life.